What's up, everybody? It's live. It's Sunday night. It's 10-ish. So it's time for the CrushCast, ladies and gentlemen. And whether it's the beginning or the end of your week, we're about to get into some deep shiz. Let me tell you that right now. I, of course, am AphroditesCrush. And, of course, you can see me here on the AphroditesCrush YouTube channel, on Facebook at AphroditesCrush Entertainment, and, of course, on Twitter and Instagram at AphroditesCrush. And while you do your video bump there, I'm going to go ahead and put this stuff out on Twitter and Facebook as well. So tell them what your name is.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, my name is Ian J. Adams. That's my full name. But yeah, I'm here for the third time on your show. Thank you for having me on.
Great to have you. Got anything you want to plug? Hint, hint.
Just our show. I'm kind of like antisocial online.
Well,
like I need to post our show more on like Facebook and all that stuff, you know. But it's just like all that social media stuff. That's like a job in itself, you know.
oh, come on, man. Plug the show. Plug the show.
Need like some interns and shit, man.
No, only Infinite Edge Intensity get those type of interns.
Oh yeah.
Intern.
So what are we talking about today?
All right, so here's the thing today. We're going to go over a couple things. I got my main topic, which shouldn't take very long. But it's a little bit of an involved conversation. And there's a couple like side things I've seen online and whatnot. Just kind of cover some different topics today.
Yeah.
First off, and of course I found this out just before the show started with you, you don't know who Dom Mazzetti is. The professor, five-time college attendee, host slayer. If you don't know who Dom Mazzetti is, you go to Bro Science on YouTube and you watch all the videos. Because Dom Mazzetti is probably the best like bro character there is on YouTube. Is basically Dom Mazzetti is a character created by Mike and Guion. I can never remember their last names. But it's hilarious. And if you ever known a guy who's been way too much into bodybuilding and thinks he's the buffest dude in the world, Dom Mazzetti is the guy who you want to watch just to laugh.
At first I thought you were going to say he was like a wrestler or something.
Dom would probably tell you that he was, just to see what you'd say.
Right.
But,
well, he sounds like a guy that would be pretty cool to hang out with, though.
I don't know about that. Dom is a very interesting character as well. I will see if I can find this real quick. Let's see. He actually, Mike and Guion just got Dom a YouTube deal with The Rock. So, hilarious. I posted there in the chat the Bro Science Life YouTube channel page. You will get a kick out of it. You'll be laughing your ass off at least half the night. Of course, after the show. But it's hilarious.
Cool.
So, man, let's see what else we got going on here. There's a couple other topics I did want to cover today as well. But really, the main one. Oh,
I was going to ask, did you want to talk? Was there anything?
Yeah.
Do you usually talk about like what you do during the week? Because on the show last night, I don't think we did like any kind of catch up with you. We were just like right into the battle stations or whatever.
Well, I've just been trying to build and whatnot. We might have somebody else coming in here in a moment.
Okay.
It might happen. But it's going to be a little like my weeks right now, just because I'm one of the only managers at my job, is just mostly work. Mostly work and me watching like Benjamin, not Benjamin.
Gentlemen, and you guys.
And ladies and gentlemen, with his first appearance on the new and improved CrushCast, Mr. Look at My Tumblr, No Rights himself.
Ben Thompson. How's it going?
Plug.
You scared my cat away. NoRightsProductions.com. I'm also known as Ben, but there's like 10 billion Bens, so let's go by No Rights. What's up?
Just as long as someone doesn't call you Uncle Ben. Right, Spidey?
You know, for some reason I just pictured myself on a rice box now, and I think that's kind of racist, so...
Anyway. We're just kind of going over what we've done this past week. I've been working a lot. Basically, I'm just can't wait for Thursday. Thursday's going to be my next day off. It'll be like it's either 5 or 7 day stretch I've done. And then hopefully by that time I'll get my stuff in the mail, which I'll go over that here in a minute too. But just been trying to keep stuff going and not get totally burned out.
That's cool.
How about you, Ian?
Like in my spare time here, I've been trying to like just get like a whole collection. I'm trying to make like a huge mega operating system distribution USB drive, and I've been going back and like organizing all my like ISOs and stuff. I have it all, everything from like Windows 1 back from the mid 80s up until like the latest update to Windows 10 now on there. A bunch of Linux distros on there. I was gonna try to find like all like the different versions of Mac OS and shit, you know, because I got like 128 gig thumb drive or whatever, so I was gonna put all that on there. It'll be pretty awesome, I think.
The history of personal computing on this USB thumb drive.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And bunch of drivers and shit on there, just like a whole utility kind of thing, you know.
Please, YouTube, don't blackball my channel now.
What? I think you'll be fine, man.
How about you, Benjamin?
Well, I've been working on different things. I spent the week working on a freelance gig for a guy, and gotta start going through the notes and revisions for it next week. But yeah, and then I'm spending today trying to look at some JavaScript, which is not something I'm all that fluent in. So a lot of what event? Okay, I art guy. Why me do code? No, me no comprehend code.
Well, you're maybe drinking the wrong drink, Ben.
I know, right? But
you drink some Java.
Back to the soda.
Well, now that everybody's catched up, what are the topics going to be for tonight, Doug?
Well, before I get to the main topics,
okay.
Remember I was on the TNT podcast last night, and I mentioned that I got an iBook, right?
Yeah, you decided to come on the show, unlike some other people. Ben.
YouTube drama alert. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Killer Keemstar with drama alert. There's a little bit of friction here.
Well, we sent him an invite at like 10:30, so maybe it was passed out. I don't know.
Oh, don't you know he goes to bed at 7:30? He watches Jeopardy, has some cornflakes, and then hits the hay normally.
Well, my sleep schedule has been a little odd, considering my girlfriend's like in a time zone that's 2 hours behind us, and she goes to bed at like 2 her time. So it's like some nights it's like it's 4 a.m. I should go to bed. And then it's like, oh, hey, the guys are calling. Well,
oh, crap, man. So,
well, what were you saying, Doug? You were on the show last night. We appreciated having you on. Stirring things up.
Oh yeah, Ben. If you haven't seen that episode, you need to go back and watch that episode because I I let Frankie have it. A couple different things.
Did you fall on your butt some more? I'd like to see more of that.
No, but I made Franklin intellectually faceplant. So
yeah, you guys should just like make out already.
how about you shut up, you Roman Reigns fan?
Oh man. Hey, everybody loves Roman Reigns, man.
No. He's almost as hated as John Cena. Anyway, getting off the topic. I told you guys I bought an iBook last night, right? So go to work today, and turns out the lady who sold it to me canceled the order and refunded my money this morning because she said it was too damaged. So I'm like, well, that sucks, but I mean, it is what it is. So I went searching on eBay today, bought another iBook, and then bought a Mac Mini on top of that, and spent less than $50. So I was like, crack win. What
are you going to do with those?
Well, I'm going to look up the stats for the Mac Mini first, and I'm going to see like how the storage is on it, like how what's the most I can put in. Because I think that's one of the models on the Mac Minis where you can expand the storage on it. I'm not 100%. I know it comes with a 500 gig. So,
aren't those things pretty involved in disassembling and
they can't if
upgrading?
You don't know what you're doing, but iFixit is wonderful. And this is also an older Mac Mini. This is actually one of the Mac Minis that has a CD drive.
Oh wow!
So this is back in the older days of the first couple editions of the Mac Mini that have a little bit more repairability to them. So that's the only thing that's kind of perturbed me about this Mac Mini was that I'm like, oh crap, I can't put CDs in it. I had to get an external CD drive. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
No, still love the Mac Mini, but still now I have another one. So if I can actually get that one, even if I can't get it to take a different drive, I'll just run an external on it. And I might use that for my movie server instead of running the regular build out. So just to save my booty, I also ordered an external hard drive case. That way I have a 3 terabyte drive that I can just plug, install, and go. So got those.
Okay.
I was like, if that lady would have never canceled my iBook order, I would have never found that Mac Mini for so cheap. I ended up spending a little bit more on the other iBook that I bought, which I'm going to use to write my book and to write my short stories and stuff. And I might use that just for my standard content as far as my DeviantArt goes. But it's mainly going to be for writing. So.
Yeah, my cat was climbing on some of my stuff, so I figured I'd show you guys what my mom recently got when she went to Volunteers of America. And she picked up this little lovely oddity from me.
Welcome to LGR Thrifts. Let's go thrift.
Oh boy.
Wait a second.
What's that?
What's that? Hold on. Welcome to LGR Thrifts. Let's go thrifting.
Yeah, that's not a very good Duke Nukem impersonation, first off, Doug. But
he has a very specific voice. I can't get it all the way, damn it.
It's because we bass people. We go bassy. Oh yeah. Anyway,
that was.
And more importantly, I picked up this, the Ryzen. Yeah.
Was that? I thought you guys might. What? Verizon.
I thought you guys might appreciate this because it's a Meade Capture View digital camera binocular. So
it's.
Oh boy.
It's Quagmire's like wet dream right there.
Well, I figure you guys would appreciate it considering it goes to, let's see, digital camera, resolution 640 by 480, memory 16 megabyte, 128 megabyte SD RAM, and yeah, system requirements: Windows 98 SE, Windows ME, Windows 2000, Windows XP, 200 megahertz or faster processor, 64 megabyte of SD RAM, video card with 2 megabyte of RAM, 4 times CD-ROM drive, USB port, 600 megabyte of free hard drive space. So, this is an oldie.
Yeah.
Nothing but a Goldie.
I mean, yeah. I thought I'd share that with you. I opened it up recently. Instant replay of video.
I bet you did.
But unfortunately, I don't have the 2 AAA batteries it requires. I opened it up, and there was 1 AAA in it, but not the second one. So, but yeah. Thought I'd drop that little oddity by you.
So what? So how's it work? Pretty good. You can do some spying. I mean, recording.
Well, it's something my mom got, but considering she got a pair of those zoomy binoculars before, you've seen those, right? Where they're glasses, and if you crank the thing, they act like binoculars a little bit, but they're not exactly.
Ben, welcome to the NSA.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. We'd like to talk to you about why you have these cheap binoculars. Are you filming your neighbors undressing? Have you seen my neighbors?
Yeah, you just picture him walking in the bathroom with those.
Right. Geekity geekity.
Wait, you just gotta do that. One of those things.
Yeah.
All right, so the main topic.
Man's taking on the beach.
So the main topic for today. Ben might get triggered. This might happen. I didn't think about this when I invited him. So, in the world of cinema right now, we have an issue. This is a comparison, not in movies specifically, but a comparison in fan bases, a comparison in media coverage, and a comparison in reactions from people who are in the said media for these movies and outside of the media for these movies. Wonder Woman just came out, a couple months ago? About 2 months ago? Blew the damn doors off of everything. I'm talking, basically one of the best comic book movies ever created. Fantastic female lead. And that's key. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. Fantastic plot, great acting. The supporting cast was fantastic. In comparison to last year's box office dud and otherwise disliked movie with 4 female leads, Ghostbusters, that had fan backlash, that had actor backlash to a certain extent as well, and had a different type of a reaction to it when people said they didn't like it, and how it was reacted to in the media. So I think everybody here knows the deal about what happened after they first released a couple trailers for Ghostbusters. Everyone was like, this is trash. This is horrible. The Angry Video Game Nerd did a video saying he was not going to watch it, wasn't going to review it on his channel. At which point, the Angry Video Game Nerd was just branded a outright sexist. How dare he not go see the female Ghostbusters? You know, it's got these female leads and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing about that movie. The movie was critically not well received. The movie was publicly not well received. And the reasons why was that the plot was trash. The acting was horrible. And the makers of the movie forgot why Ghostbusters, the first couple movies, was so successful. The type of comedy that you had in Ghostbusters was more cerebral. Didn't appeal to, lame slapstick comedy. You had a guy who ran deadpan throughout the movie, and that was Bill Murray. And the writing was just edgy. Nice, and it had a nice little edge to it, written perfectly. Ghostbusters had none of that. Now, why am I covering this for everybody at home as in comparison to Wonder Woman, which is so well received, well written, well acted? One thing that I heard a lot last year was that the reason why Ghostbusters flopped at the box office was that moviegoers are not ready to take on a female lead style movie of these contexts in the realm of sexist made this movie flop. All these guys were like, I'm not going to go see this movie. Who wants to watch four chicks be the Ghostbusters? Obviously, it's going to be just straight up be horrible because it's four chicks. No. Wonder Woman has quite obviously proven that type of shell cranium fallacy has been shattered, and the fact that we have been waiting for a movie like Wonder Woman to be well done, well acted, and well scripted for so long that when we get something that's like Wonder Woman, which was fantastic on all fronts, mind you.
Are you saying a man couldn't be Wonder Woman, Doug? Is that your argument?
I'm not saying that.
No, he's saying that Wonder Woman is an example of a good female movie.
Exactly.
So you're saying all it takes is, well, let's give a woman a movie that's not been done by four guys before that fanboys are gonna shoot down, that people are gonna say, I'm not gonna see that before it actually comes out. Yeah, that's it.
Also, what I'm also talking about how Ghostbusters was not really well received. Nobody really wanted Ghostbusters.
Well, people like you didn't, Doug. I mean, you didn't see it
No,
because you weren't going to
wait.
see it.
You got
Have you seen Ghostbusters, Doug?
No, I did not. And there are reasons
Exactly.
why I did not want to see Ghostbusters. And here
If you go into an argument saying, here are the reasons why I don't want to see it and why I don't want it, I don't think you can have an educated argument of, this is what's wrong with the movie because you didn't see it. I mean, that's kind of the saying. You're saying, I come into this movie expecting something and I'm going to call it trash before I see it. I mean,
but you also have
what kind of educated argument can you really have to that?
Things and was intentionally not delivered what the fandom wanted. When you talk about people wanting a Wonder Woman movie, they wanted certain things and DC delivered. I am a Marvel guy. Always been a Marvel guy. Always will be a Marvel guy. I did not like Batman vs. Superman. I liked Man of Steel, but I did not like Batman vs. Superman. Now, what I wanted from a Wonder Woman, what I wanted from a Wonder Woman movie was delivered on a silver platter to the fandom and said, this is for you. Ghostbusters didn't even really connect the two movies, or the new movie to the old two, did not connect them whatsoever, and just had walk-ons from the original cast to a certain extent.
Have you seen the movie,
it's like
Doug?
The first two movies never happened. So you're telling me that I would have even been happy if they would have had the old, even if they would have had the old cast come back as ghosts and hand the reins over, pass the torch. I would have accepted that, and I would have went to see the movie. But when you're not intentionally not being given what you want
because you didn't get Ghostbusters 3, you're going to pout and go in your corner. That's what you're saying. That's what I'm hearing, Doug.
What I'm saying is that's what everybody said when nobody went to go see the movie. Instead of saying that, well, we weren't given what we wanted, people lashed out and said, well, it's because there's 4 female leads.
Well, I don't know, Doug. Just because you're sitting there pouting, saying, well, it's not the movie I want it to be, so therefore I'm not going to see it. Therefore, I don't think you can really...
A large amount of moviegoers did not also, which proves a point. It proves a point of when you actually cater to your audience, you sell tickets. When you give the public what they want as far as the content that they ask for, people will buy tickets.
I say if you don't see what the actual content is, you can't be of the mindset of you didn't give the audience what they want.
And if you're specifically going to tell me that, then you have to look at me honestly and say that trailers don't mean anything. If you're going to give me a trailer,
trailers don't mean anything, Doug. If you never watched a trailer and told me you haven't been lied to, I mean,
you know what? The ticket sales reflect that if the trailer lies to the public, especially when you talk about second week receipts. There are movies that just go through the downturn, and It happens to most movies. But when you're also talking about people who go see a film on Thursday and they have word of mouth, by the time Sunday comes around, that wonderful Thursday opening dropped off and that movie opens in fifth place. Obviously, this is what happened to Ghostbusters because they weren't giving the public what they wanted. That is the comparison that I'm giving here in two forms.
Well, Doug, I have two arguments there real quick. One, if you have not seen the movie that you're arguing is trash, then you're just effectively digging up your own butt and pulling something out. I hate to tell you that, but until you actually see the movie, you can't argue it's full of trash because you're arguing that the trailer that was sold to you is full of trash. No, yes you do, Doug, because until I see you, show me the last book report you could get up where you say, I didn't read this movie, but I saw the cover and it was full of trash, so I'm going to tell you the book was full of trash. You can't do that, Doug. No film critic can go have a movie review show and go, I didn't see the movie, but I'll tell you why it was full of trash, and this is what. You can't do that. That's an intellectual dishonesty. It's the least expected of you if you're going to review a product is to actually view said product.
I'm not reviewing the product. I'm telling you, before it even gets to that point, to have someone not waste their time on something that is not made for that person. If you're telling me...
It's nice to know that you decide what is made for that person, Doug, because I consider myself a Ghostbusters fan. I watched the movie. I liked it. But it's nice to know that you've decided that you're the defining audience, and fuck me for liking it, because that's what it sounds like.
That you had such low expectations.
No, you're the one with low expectations because you didn't see it.
I'm the one with high expectations, my friend.
Well, you've got overly high expectations that you won't see a thing because you're afraid that the four girls are going to step on your dreams of the guys.
No, all I wanted was proper plot progression, and what I wanted was a proper homage to the originals.
And you wanted a movie that was in your head, Doug, because if you've not actually seen the thing that you're trying to argue is crap, then you're arguing with your own butt. I mean, you're basing this on nothing.
No, not really.
Yes, really, Doug. Because, like I said, show me a school that will let you do a book report having not read the book and be able to talk shit about the book because you can't. But that's the argument of actually seeing the thing, doing your research, and having a formed opinion rather than letting the angry video game nerd give it to you. But
no, because I actually did my homework on the plot of the movie as well. I do my homework as far as Wikipedia goes. And
yes, Wikipedia, that firm recognized in giving books
with no problem at all.
You cannot use Wikipedia as a source in a college educated review of something, and yet you're going to cite it as this is the source.
This isn't even the fact of any type of a book report or a movie report. It's a simple fact of the matter that sits out there. And to be quite honest with you, not only did the box office receipts tell you the truth about the movie, but the DVD sales also told you the truth about the movie. Sorry to tell you, my man, but the public as a whole did not like this movie, specifically for the reasons that I've stated.
You know what else? You know what other movie was a box office bomb when it originally came out? Shawshank Redemption. Plenty of movies were not big when they came out, and were later rediscovered.
When they went to video, the true color showed. Because
but do you think that happened the first night that movie came out, or do you think it happened 5-6 years later when people said, hey, maybe those critics didn't actually see the movie and had their heads up their own asses, and maybe this is actually a good film?
Unfortunately, some movies just don't perform on box office, but they do well in DVD and rental receipts. But Ghostbusters is not one of those movies.
How long has Ghostbusters been on the DVD market?
Right now is what the truth of the matter is versus what you've let the media tell you. And unfortunately for you,
Doug, are you saying Ghostbusters is fake news? Is that what you're saying, Doug? Is this redhead man on this show telling me that Ghostbusters is fake news? Ian, I think that's what he's telling me.
It's trash news, but that's just the way I'm seeing it here.
So, can I say something? I think, I have seen it, and believe me, I think if Doug's seen it, he would rip it apart even more. To be honest, but
would he not have more credentials to rip it apart at that point, rather than grasping at what he assumes is in that film? Because last time I talked to him about he was going off about the fat jokes, there weren't fat jokes in that movie, if you actually saw it.
If you watch the trailer, there's quite a few.
A trailer is not the same as the movie, Doug. We've established this. I mean...
If you're going to try to sell me a fat joke movie...
I mean,
Sorry, go ahead.
Not necessarily. I mean, even if he read Wikipedia or he read some other source, I mean, like, if everybody wanted a specific storyline or plot, like, if everybody... I'm sure a lot of people really did want Ghostbusters in Hell, but they didn't get that. They got another storyline. I mean, if he read, scene for scene what happened in the movie, he could... I mean, I don't know exactly how much he read, but he could probably make an estimation of what the movie is generally about. And if a lot of people didn't want that, if they wanted like a specific like setting or something in the movie,
well, I mean, and that's not. I didn't want something specific. I didn't want backside.
Really? Because you spent 20 minutes telling us specifically what you wanted, and now you're just saying you didn't want something specific. I find that hilarious, Doug.
What I wanted was, at least in some form, a true acknowledgement of the past, and you got none of that.
No, that's why they had the guys walk on. That's why they had a whole bunch of winks and nods. If you'd actually let me finish my point when I'm telling you, Doug, if you're going to interrupt and tell me it's not exactly what you wanted, then why am I even here trying to discuss this with you?
When you needed a loaf of bread, okay? That's the way that it is.
Doug, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Doug. You're jumping right into when I'm trying to say something. That's what they try to do, and you go, that's not what I wanted. You've just decided before I even had the discussion with you that this movie was never for you. You've had this discussion. You've come in and announced that you're not going to see the movie, that it's obviously not what you want, and if you decide what that is before you ever actually see the product, then you're judging this book by the cover. You're judging it by a shitty trailer, which a lot of movies have shitty trailers.
I'm judging it by the truth of what they've given us. And the fact of the matter is, if you're telling me that all they have was walk-ons, if you're telling me a walk-on is a true harken back to the past.
Bill Murray's character was more than a walk-on. He reappeared. He had at least 2 scenes, and he was actually part of a major scene in the film. But go ahead and dispute something that you actually don't know about.
Scenes. Oh, give me 2 scenes of one character from the original movies, and now just make me all happy inside. Sorry to tell you.
That's just like Stan Lee making an appearance or something in the Marvel movies. I mean, it's not really something special necessarily.
I'm sorry. Exactly what does Doug want if he's sitting there giving, give me some acknowledgement of the first movies, but don't bring the actors back to give their blessing and wink and nod at this movie. No. I'm just going to sit here and stroke my own dick telling you why this movie isn't what I want. Because that's what I'm hearing, Doug.
The originals. It's not just acknowledgement of the originals. Okay? When
he's talking about like examples of like, hey, like them talking about or like some kind of rumors in the movie about.
Actually, most people that actually watched the movie, their biggest complaint was they wish it didn't have all those winks and nods to the original, that it was just its own thing. But it had such a huge backlash of people like Doug who are going, I want this and that from this movie, or else I won't see it. And personally, I would have been fine if there had been no acknowledgement of the original movie, if it could have just been its own thing. But instead, we get people like Doug who are crying foul of a trailer and stomping up and down hoping this movie fails. And the reason you liked Wonder Woman is, tell me what was the last Wonder Woman movie that you had to be disappointed by? That we had to spend how many years before we actually got a Wonder Woman movie, and now you're comparing it to Ghostbusters and saying, well, this is why this women's movie was better than this woman's movie. It's such an innocuous piece of bullshit, Doug.
Get out of your own head for a second and actually listen to the truth. What I'm making as far as illusions go is a comparison of one movie and what was blamed on the failure versus the success of another movie, and why the complaint about the failure of the other movie is total BS. Because people saying that there are sexists and bigots out there who didn't want the movie to succeed because there's 4 female leads. No, the movie sucked. The movie bombed because it sucked.
Why do you think the movie sucked, Doug?
Because they did not give the fan service that they needed to give.
Okay, get the fan service out of your head. Why did the movie suck? Forget ever being a fan of this. If you had never seen a Ghostbusters movie before,
I probably wouldn't go see it then.
So you would never see Ghostbusters. Because the first movie had nothing other than, this is guys from SNL. There was Bill Murray, and then there was... Because
of the fact that there is a lot of these copycat-style movies, in which Ghostbusters really had a lot of these kind of points, it seemed like they're making like a Bridesmaids with a Ghostbuster jetpack.
There we go. There it goes.
I own Bridesmaids. If I want to watch Bridesmaids, I'll watch Bridesmaids.
It's not Bridesmaids, Doug. This is not. This is not Bridesmaids.
You have 4 women on screen doing attempted deadpan and BS slapstick comedy with a large chick in the middle.
Okay, Doug. That's another point I have to say with you first. You claim to be a huge fan of Ghostbusters. You claim to be the sacrosanct example of what a Ghostbusters fan is. So you're telling me Ghostbusters... No, let me finish what I'm saying, Doug. Let me finish, Doug. Let me finish what I'm saying if you really have an argument to not hide under here. You claim to be such a huge fan of Ghostbusters and arguing that the...
fan. That's the sad part.
Can I finish my argument, Doug? Can I finish what I'm saying before somebody climbs up out of his own butthole and tries to explain himself away? You claim to be such a huge fan of Ghostbusters and argue that the remake is nothing but slapstick. Oh, so I'm sorry that the original movie that was He Slimed Me. You telling me that movie was not about slapstick? You're telling me hey, look what I could pull from this table. Hey, it's still standing. The flowers are still standing. You're telling me that the remake was too slapstick, Doug? I'm sorry. You're just full of it.
You don't know the difference between deadpan and slapstick. You don't know the difference between that. How do you...
Doug, if your argument has to come down to you're ignorant, then I'm sorry, you've lost because you have no real argument to stand on other than to try and debunk me. Because
obviously
your argument is I don't need to see the movie because I'm an expert. I'm telling you, you got sold a shitty trailer and then you decided to rail against that.
Oh, man, this is great. Don't get angry because you know I'm right.
No, I'm angry because you're being full of yourself, and you decide that you're right because you're full of yourself.
I'm not
hey, that there, Of Mice and Men, that's a big book. I don't think I like big books. I think there's a mouse in there, right? And there's something about rabbits. Yeah, it's a stupid fuck book, right? Oh, that they're Gone with the Wind. That's a long movie. I ain't got time for no long movie. No, I can't.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your butt hurt?
Doug, I'm now going to sit and review every movie that you love, having never seen them, just because apparently I'm allowed to do that now. That apparently I'm able to rip apart any movie based on the trailer that sold me, because a movie obviously can never have a shitty trailer and still be a good movie. I mean, that's obviously not a thing. That's not something people would do. I mean, you know.
Ben, can I make my argument since I've seen it? Ben,
go ahead.
You know why I didn't like it? It's because it wasn't Ghostbusters 3. They shouldn't have even been able to use the trademark of Ghostbusters because it branched off on its own. There was actors from the old movies, and you can't even call those nods. Those are just guest appearances of the actors in the movie. I mean, where's the baby? I forget where's Oscar? How come there was no talk about what happened in New York City with the
not Ghostbusters 3 stuff. Ian. It's not Ghostbusters 3.
It's completely new.
It's something different. And if you're not going to be a continuation and recognize that Ghostbusters even happened, why can you even call it Ghostbusters? Call it Ghost Hunters or something then, you know?
Hey, and that's another thing, Ian. How come in Man of Steel we didn't get anything about that amnesia kiss? I mean, how can they call that a Superman movie if we don't just address the kiss of amnesia in the original Superman 2? Honestly, I mean...
Well, I mean, they could call it Superman because he's got a Superman cape, he's a man, and he's got...
And there were ghosts and they were busted in the movie, Ian.
It's the same copyright. But just because it's a ghost, that means you're gonna... They're saying, oh, this is a replacement or something. I mean...
So, okay, I have a question.
Again, your guys' argument comes down to, I wish this was Ghostbusters 3. It's not.
Yeah,
you can accept it on those terms. Not. So
it's not. That's what we're saying. It's not Ghostbusters 3, and that sucks.
And they didn't sell it as Ghostbusters 3. This movie was Ghostbusters. It wasn't Ghostbusters 3. It was Ghostbusters 2016.
Again, that's not what the fan base wanted, therefore it failed. Congratulations, you get the point. Finally!
That's not the point, Doug. That's how you would like to spin it, but that's...
It's like it's free choice in economics. Oh my goodness! Anyway...
Yes, Doug, because obviously when anything fails, it's because the fans decided. Just because, you know, because that's how it works. You'll sit and go how a movie was totally shit bombed, and how a movie came out at the wrong time, or got the wrong rating by the studio, or a whole bunch of other shit. But now it's all of a sudden, well, the fans voted with their money. Fuck you. That's fucking bullshit.
Don't get mad because you know you're wrong.
I'm mad because you're full of shit, Doug. You're sitting here saying this is why this movie bombed, and not because people like you sat there and went, this isn't Ghostbusters 3, and I'm going to take my money and go home. Just because you're the one that was butthurt and didn't want to spend your money on it, and now suddenly you're deciding that's what fans wanted and they didn't get it, and then...
That's essentially what everybody said about the movie.
No, what everybody said! Who said that other than you and the fanboys that are crying that it wasn't Ghostbusters 3?
So you mean there's fanboys out there who actually wanted it, and that's why they didn't go see it? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Around the Horn.
Doug!
So, here's the thing.
I was waiting for it.
I gave him his open platform. So,
well, I mean, I think you do have a little bit of credibility though. Working at Walmart and stuff, you kind of have an idea of what people want in general, like, because I'm sure people ask you like, is this movie any good or anything, you know?
And that's the thing too, is that you have a lot of, and the thing is, a lot of the fanboys, and yeah, there are fanboys out there who would have went to seen it if there were these callbacks and actual callbacks to the past. Things that people have said that they wanted for years and actually wanted a proper Ghostbusters 3. Even if it would have been a handoff, even if like maybe, I would honestly, and this is the honest truth, it would have been happy if for the first 10 minutes you would have seen the original Ghostbusters and then it would have been the new crew. Why? Because it would have been proper. It would have been a handshake deal between the old movies and the new movie. You know? And that's something that a lot of people who are obviously they like the movie can't deal with, is the fact that a large portion of the fan base basically said, you're not giving us what we want, so we're walking away from it. And that's just the way that it is, unfortunately. You know, and
besides that, though, you can't. You at least got to defend yourself. You know, like, just because you don't like the movie, that doesn't mean that you're a sexist. You know.
Yeah, and that's the main point of this, is that the role of sexism in the geek and the nerd community and the comic book lover communities, just there's a lot of kind of like buffer anger in a lot of ways, because it took so long for Wonder Woman to get made. And there, all of a sudden there was a little bit of doubt last year through some people in the fact that, what was it? Meninists is what we're called now, apparently. Meninists were like, well, we're not going to go see this movie just because there's four female leads. Come on. You know, that's why when James Rolfe was attacked last year, and he had valid points, and pretty much the points that I had to not go see it, because they didn't want their memory tarnished of something that they love so much. You know, it's really sad that your only true your Ghostbuster sequel came out as a video game after the fact, and that was like that's a while ago with this Ghostbusters video game. It's not the argument of why the movie was bad, and that's really wasn't the major intention of the discussion. It's the intention of the discussion to talk about how sexism is viewed in the comic, like nerd geek communities right now. and how we have a lot of people coming from outside the genre who know nothing about any of the characters that we care so much about as fans and as consumers, basically being told why something didn't sell.
Right. And what's crazy about it is that it's not like you can't call it, it's not Ghostbusters 3, but then you can't really call it a reboot, because usually reboots, like I was trying to say with Superman, is that you're trying to, when you do a reboot, you try to match the character as much as possible in like every small detail, the costume and everything, the whole copyright of the character,
Well, in reading the plot online, it's basically this character like this because of reasons, and then this character picks this up because of reasons. All of a sudden, one of the chicks knows how to read one of those spectrometer things that Egon used to have.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden these things are coming out of nowhere, just like it's being thrown at you. But you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Ben's probably not watching. But here's what I want you to tell Ben that I'm going to do. I'm going to do this just for him. I'm going to go rent Ghostbusters and then come back with a point-by-point why it sucked review.
Yeah, I was going to say, you should honestly see it, because I feel like you would really, really rip it apart after you see it. That would be so funny.
So I'm going
to I think you honestly would. And I mean, there's honestly parts of this, like if you just focus on a storyline, like if you just focus on it as a standalone movie, it was like if you never even saw Ghostbusters before or anything, there was things that they really could have done good with the storyline, but they just didn't. It's kind of like you just go up and try to throw the basketball in the hoop, and you're just like, you like kind of like half-assed it,
So I think you guys are doing the TNT podcast, probably Friday night, right, this week?
Yeah, we're switching to Fridays, yeah.
So I should be able to come on Friday night. I'm not 100%, but I should be. And I might be able to get to see that before then. I'm not 100% sure. I'm actually going to go see The Dark Tower on Thursday. So, which, by the way, The Dark Tower isn't 100% following the book. But you know what? I'm going to go see it anyway because the trailers made it look interesting. Unlike Ghostbusters. So, either this week or next week, whenever I can get on the show next, I'm going to watch that movie and I'm going to come back with a point-by-point why it sucked review. And not only am I going to bring it onto your show, I'm also going to write out a point-by-point why it sucked review, and I'm probably going to put it up on my blogger. That way I can hold it up for posterity and point to that and say, this is why this movie should never be remade ever again. But that's also, again, besides the point. The point really is that in our culture right now, especially in the comic fans and this and that culture, we are having a very unhappily marriage between what is going on outside our culture and what's happening inside of it. I think the big thing right now is that since Wonder Woman has a movie, obviously they're going to try to greenlit more female-fronted movies, which is a great idea. Some of the best characters in both Marvel and DC are female-fronted. But
I just watched Kick-Ass too, man. And even though if it's called Kick-Ass, the main muscle of the movie is the little girl,
No, like I showed you guys last night, I own Lucy, and Lucy is fantastic with Scarlett Johansson. I own Ghost in the Shell, another Scarlett Johansson-fronted movie.
Kill Bill, you like?
I love both volumes of Kill Bill. Sin City, you could kind of call both of them somewhat female-fronted. There are so many other television shows and movies and all these other avenues where females are doing better and better and getting the respect and the chances that they rightly deserve. It's just that we need to temper what we think should come out of that, because I don't want certain bars to be set too high. You know what I mean? There are some directors, they can only work with how much of a budget, and now you're going to see some of these female-fronted action movies and female-fronted superhero movies that have they has a $20 million budget, but everyone's going to say, well, this movie sucked, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's sexist to say that it sucked.
Yeah. I just wish they would have at least they didn't even have it where they just had Bill Murray or Sigourney Weaver in there as just guest appearances. They didn't even try to make have them hand anything down or any equipment or anything, because that would have been better, at least the recognition of what happened before. Why didn't they do that if Ben was saying it wasn't supposed to be in the same universe? Well, why couldn't it have been? That would have made it better, and that's a slip up.
Faux fan service, fake fan service, something to basically this little pills okay, we're gonna give you this when you better like it, and that's why they did it.
Wasn't Egon supposed to be a he was dead and he came back as a ghost? There was rumors of that or something before.
I don't think they could get the clearance to do it since he passed away, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, before he passed away, I'm saying a long time ago there was rumors of that.
And it's something I didn't even get into for obvious reasons. Is the fact that Dan Aykroyd talked about the movie after it released, and he said that basically the director was cutting out stuff that should have been in the movie, and he did stuff that he didn't agree with as well, and said that the director should never touch a Ghostbusters movie ever again.
Who? The director of this movie? Are you talking? You're not. I asked Ben last week what Ivan Reitman thought about the films, because that's who directed the first Ghostbuster movies, and he said he actually liked it, which, I mean, I kind of find hard to believe, but I mean, you never know.
That's because Ivan wants to make another movie. Ivan wants to do it. I think he wanted to do a movie and a TV show to tie them both together. And I'm like, well, you should have done that the first time around, and maybe you would have made a little bit more money.
Yeah.
You can't.
Who was the director of this movie?
Oh man, let me look it up real quick.
But you're saying that he said that
yeah, Aykroyd said he should never touch another. He actually said he should never touch the Sony lot ever again.
Okay. Yeah, you should have brought that up, man. When you were arguing with Ben.
But that's the thing, is that argument that I was getting is the same one we've been getting since last year, since both me and Frank were talking about not seeing the movie, and we also we're talking about this, and you can't get to the next stage because he's too busy trying to disassemble the fact that some of us fanboys, and I consider myself a fanboy, not like a super fan, like he was trying to portray me out to be, but the fact is that Aykroyd doesn't want this director anywhere near another Ghostbusters project. This might have killed off the Ghostbusters franchise as it is. They're going to have problems even getting the series to go forward now, which is a damn shame.
But, yeah, and he was just taking it so personally, because he was getting just too over mad. He was like, "Oh, so you're saying fuck me and everything, and fuck you," and it's like you never said any of that stuff, I mean, you weren't trying to get hostile and stuff. I mean, this isn't not having a personal attack session here, We're not trying to. You're just getting so heated over a movie.
Let's see.
But hey, arguments get viewers, so.
Yeah.
You just gotta let them go down, man.
It's all good. It's all good. Paul Feig.
Oh, okay.
Is the name of it.
Yeah, I don't think Dan Aykroyd, he didn't make an appearance, right, then?
Yeah, he did.
He did? I don't remember
Dan Aykroyd was
that.
in the movie. Yeah. So here's what Dan Aykroyd said 2 months ago about this movie. Now, again, he was in the movie. He says the girls are great in it. Kate McKinnon, Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, what wonderful, wonderful players they are, and Leslie Jones. I was really happy with the movie, but it cost too much, and Sony does not like to lose money. They don't. It made a lot of movie around the world, but just cost too much, making it economically not feasible to do another one. The director, he spent too much on it. He didn't shoot scenes we suggested to him, and several scenes that were going to be needed, and said, "Nah, we don't need them." Then we tested the movie, and they needed them, and had to go back. About 30 to 40 million in reshoots. So he will not be back on the Sony lot anytime soon. And that's quoted, I believe, was from Cinema Blend. Now, Dan might have liked the movie. Bill Murray said he liked the movie, but again, they were in it. You know, how many people are really going to bash a movie like that after the fact? However, that says something when you're suggesting scenes to a director, as a director, and I think Dan Aykroyd has directed before, that this dude just ignores, and then, oh wait, he has to go back and do them. Basically, and some of the scenes I've watched some of the scenes, not a whole lot of them, but when you're talking about the difference between Leslie Jones in the movie going to going to do the crowd ride, and then all of a sudden she falls flat on her back and then gets angry. That's
Right.
Bad slapstick. The difference between that and Bill Murray getting slimed and saying in the most basest deadpan face, "He slimed me," that's called deadpan comedy. Deadpan comedy and made me lose my track. Yeah, deadpan comedy and slapstick are not the same thing. Slapstick is physical comedy that adds to the story in general, or the scene in general. Deadpan comedy is someone acting to an extraordinary situation in an ordinary way. They're not the same thing.
Yeah.
When you have Leslie Jones, get out of my friend's body, smack, 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 smack. It's too reminiscent of these movies right now where there's a crap ton of physical comedy, which this entire trend was started with The Hangover. And I'm not really a big fan of the Hangover movies. I'm barely a fan of Bridesmaids, but Bridesmaids, like that type of comedy and all these other, wacky stuff happens style movies, it doesn't fit the genre. It doesn't fit the genre, and throwing a bunch of CGI at you, and the CGI I've seen is freaking terrible.
Yeah, they're like neon ghosts and stuff,
I'm watching it. I'm like, oh my goodness, this looks horrible. I would have liked to even go back to the original way of doing the monsters in the first two movies. I mean, it had a better look. They looked a little. They didn't look super realistic, but it looked better than the crap that was in the movie.
The thing I didn't like about it too is it was like way too much for like kids and stuff, whereas like the first Ghostbusters, there was smoking in it, they were like dirty all the time. It was like more grungy, swearing, and more, it was just like generally more serious. I mean, you had like Dana was like possessed, like floating above a bed and stuff, and like
exactly.
I mean, it was more scary, the first one, but it was also funnier too.
It's just that you can't say you're gonna honor the past and then just stomp all over it, and then make it look bad when you're stomping all over it.
It was like a half-ass tribute. That's pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah, a guy who saw a property, thought he could bank a lot of money on it, spent a lot of money on it, and then was surprised when people didn't see it. And the thing is, I like Kristen Wiig as an actress. I like Leslie Jones as an actress. Melissa McCarthy, I could I'd be so happy if I never had to see her in a movie ever again. Ever again. Her type of comedy is like Will Ferrell's, and Will Ferrell's comedy is terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's all these different things that, I mean, just make up a really bad movie. It's the way that it is.
Yeah. And an all-female Ghostbuster team could have honestly worked, but it didn't in that movie.
Definitely. It definitely could have worked. Even if they would have done essentially the same movie that they did, if they would have had an actual link to the past and done the straight thing, like, they were students of the original Ghostbusters. How hard is it to write that? How hard is it to make a simple and a really it would have been criticized for being too simplistic, but you know what? That's what we wanted. We could have dealt with simplistic. We could have dealt with something that was just handshake, have a nice day.
Yeah.
That's why I really liked The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk dropped you right the hell into the middle of everything. But you know what? The first 5 minutes was, hey, here's the quick backstory. That way, if you've never seen an Incredible Hulk movie ever before, you never watched a TV show, you knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do the right thing and not even spend that much more doing it because they were already in the movie to begin with. You had them there. All you had to do was shift the crap that they did down there, shove it up to the front of the movie, and then boom, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
It's sad.
Yeah, like I know you haven't seen the Netflix series that much, but like the Daredevil and the Luke Cage, they made tons of references to what happened in New York City with the Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a real that's what's like a handoff. That's what we should have gotten a recognition of what's already been done before. They were pretty much like, fuck you, this is what the Ghostbusters should be. Instead.
Yeah.
That Ghostbusters before didn't mean anything.
And now it means even less.
Well, I'm saying that's what they're trying to say. It didn't mean anything before.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they tried to play fake lip service to the fans. It failed. And now the brand as a whole means less than what it did then before the movie came out.
Yeah. An actor appearance, that's not a nod. That's not a recognition of anything.
Yeah. That's a cheap cameo.
Yeah.
If you want a cheap cameo, make them the character that they were in the originals.
Exactly. It's as simple as that. That's not like a hard thing to recognize,
Exactly. And I already knew where, Ben was going with that as far as, the differences with like the older superhero movies and now. But the thing about it is, there's no real easy way to recanonize Superman than to start all over. There's no real way to recanonize the Incredible Hulk than to start all over.
Right. The Ghostbusters wasn't a property that would be good with anything besides Ghostbusters 3. Any kind of remake or anything. The other properties do okay with having remakes, but not really Ghostbusters, I don't think.
And that's something that the studio, the writer, and the director completely ignored. Because if they couldn't have gotten all the Ghostbusters, hell, I would have been happy with one. If they would have gave me Dan Aykroyd 10 minutes in the movie.
He's the only one that survived, right? They all got killed, right?
Hell, yeah. Even you know what? That would have done the job. Dan Aykroyd, 5-minute voiceover at the beginning of the movie would have done everything that I would have wanted, and then the rest of the movie could have played out as is, and I would have been happy at the very least with the inclusion of the original characters. That's it. How easy is that? Or actually, how hard is that? Apparently.
That's what we're trying to say to Ben. This is what we wanted, and you said that you've recognized and read that's a similar viewpoint to what you wanted. That's what other people have wanted. You weren't saying, I don't think you were necessarily saying that's you know what everybody wants, but you're saying you've recognized a similar viewpoint to your own a lot of times online.
Yep. No, and it's just the way that it is. I mean, but when you take a look at it, it's unfortunately it's the simple truth about it. It's it's not that it's not that I didn't want it to succeed. All I was saying is the reason why it didn't is because nobody had any want to see a movie of that type with the Ghostbusters name on it. And the box office and the DVD sales both reflected that, as far as I know. And I'll go ahead. I will double check it. I will check my sources just to make sure I'm correct here.
Right. I mean, I will say, like, it their Ghostbuster movies, it was like handicapped to begin with. Like, it would take a lot to really impress people. I mean, that's a given. So I mean, I do recognize that, though.
All right, I got it pulling up right now. So, between domestic and international box office, this is just for theaters, Ghostbusters did $229 million. For domestic DVD and Blu-ray sales, it did $36 million, almost 37.
This was the new one or the older ones?
The new one.
Okay.
This is the new one.
That sounds like a lot of money for that, actually.
Well, you're always going to have at least some of the people who went out to go see the movie are going to pick it up because they did like the movie. And I'm not discounting the people who like the movie in any way. Notice I never said that everybody who saw the movie and liked it was an idiot. What I'm saying is...
you never said that.
And a lot of people are going to take it as such. But what
who was this, Doug? Who was this movie for? Was it for kids? It sure as hell wasn't for us.
Exactly.
We wanted a movie for us, not the kid.
Yeah.
Not the kids, you know. I mean, that's probably selfish to say, but.
So let me give you a rundown here.
Okay.
The weekly DVD and Blu-ray sales. It was number one the first week out in both DVD and Blu-ray. Sold 355,000 week one in DVD and 350,000 in Blu-ray. Week two, it had already dropped down to number two with a 63% drop in DVD and 75% drop in Blu-ray. Okay. Now,
okay.
well, I'll look up one other one here in comparison for something that was not so forgiving. Let's see what I can find. Let's pick one out of the water here. Sorry, dead air. My apologies here.
It's okay. Another thing too is, like you were saying about the graphics. I mean, as a person that's does CG and stuff myself, like if you're gonna do it, at least I like the movies, but I viewed it as definitely like a different, like it with the Ninja Turtles. It wasn't like that was definitely a reboot. It didn't really feel like a continuation. It was kind of weird. I liked it, but it didn't give me the same kind of like appreciation for it as I had when I was a kid, obviously. But they at least put way more effort into the crazy graphics into that movie, I think, that they did than like Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Sad thing is, I don't have a lot of flops here. A lot of what I have is either like direct to DVD or underground hits.
Right.
I'm trying to find something that like abjectly flopped. Something that a lot of people were like, nah. Man, Not a lot that I have. Well,
Right.
actually, I think I might have one. Let's see. It wasn't the same type of performance. Unfortunately, I don't have one that has similar performance. Um, well, let's see.
Doug's like, I can't find anything that sucked as bad. And they even suck in a good way. You know, like really bad movies that are just like funny to watch because they're so bad.
That's, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Wolverine from 2013. Domestic box office was 132 million. International was 283. Did worldwide of 416 million, and ended up at 78 million as far as DVD and Blu-ray sales combined. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when you take a look at how a lot of these have performed since then, since like back then, a lot of those also will drop like 1, 3, and 7. Now, if you're telling me that 4 years later it has similar performance, it's a little funky, don't you think? Especially when they were selling these the different sets and whatnot to try and run out on the title afterwards, trying to push it a little bit more. And of course, you know, the regular other sets and whatnot as well. The thing about it is that when you take a look at how the movie has performed, better than average. But let's say we'll talk about the Avengers. The Avengers since apparently Ghostbusters was supposed to find an audience on video. Okay. The Avengers, the first Avengers from 2012, is also a little bit older too. Did over $1 billion at the box office and did 234 million in Blu-ray sales. Again, about average. The cult version of that, even though it did better than average, still doesn't work out to be where it's supposed to be if everyone's supposed to find out about this Blu-ray after the fact.
Right.
You know? And yeah, sales are better than average. But if you're talking about something that is supposed to find an audience secondhand, and it still did pretty well at the box office, or reasonably well, about enough to recoup most of its budget, but still considered a flop because it couldn't 100% like recoup everything, including advertising revenue, which they spent a shit ton of money on. What does that say?
Right.
I mean, shit, fucking Grindhouse still made like $6 million in DVD sales, and that one was a 3-hour plus epic that like went downhill at the box office because people didn't know what they were watching.
What about like Spider-Man 3? That really
Spider-Man
bombed, I think. I mean, I actually liked it personally, but I mean, I don't think it was recognized.
I like Spider-Man 3.
I don't think it was recognized that much better afterwards. Like, we're definitely in the minority, I believe, of liking it.
Spider-Man 3 did 125 million in DVD and Blu-ray sales. And this was back at the beginning of the DVD of the Blu-ray craze, because they were shipping out Spider-Man 3 Blu-rays in almost every single PlayStation 3 that came out. And
that was
one
2007.
made $890 million at the box office.
Right.
And most people consider that right next to X3, even though I liked X3 as well, as one of the worst comic book movies ever made. That's finding an audience. That right there is finding a true audience on DVD for something that many people have called one of the worst, and I'm not even calling Ghostbusters one of the worst movies ever made, or one of the worst Ghostbuster style titles to be ever made. It's still a bad, essentially a copycat version of the original, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
125 million with a ton of free ones being dealt out, that's a lot. Weirdly enough, that's a lot. I love Spider-Man 3. The weird one, but I like it.
Yeah, it was definitely it still definitely had a lot of the same feelings and, like, emotions. Yep. And, like, Peter Parker is, like, he's always having shit going wrong in his life. Like, the Spider-Man 2 was recognized as being really good, and I felt like he had a lot of the same struggles that he did in the second movie. Aunt May was still there giving advice and everything. It still had a lot of the same things in there.
So I think we're about ready to wrap up the show.
Oh, that was it? I thought you had some, like, other topics or something. That was the main one.
No, after spending 20 minutes kind of going back and forth, yeah, kind of does what it does, man. Like I said, I like to keep the show nice and at least at around a tidy hour, maybe a little hour plus. That way we don't wear out the viewer, and especially after what happened earlier, they're probably tired by now. So, so again, if anybody wants to check out Ben, I believe his Twitter handle is No Rights. He does have does he still do the No Rights podcast?
No, well, he was thinking about doing, like, one by himself where it was more like tutorial oriented or something, like different, not just like talking or whatever, but I don't know. Well, he hasn't really done anything with it, but our podcast is just the same. It's Ian Adams and the Talk News and Trivia podcast.
So yeah, check out the TNT podcast. You guys go on live on YouTube too, right?
Yeah, we do. I don't know, like, I wanted to try to do Twitch too, but you said that you were having problems with it, so, like, I haven't tried looking into it yet.
I'm very menial on Twitch. I haven't done much, so I might not have much unlocked if that's something that they have to do. So,
well, I know you said you were tonight. Were you able to get the Twitch, like, simultaneously with the YouTube?
Twitch shot tonight. I'm actually going to try, at least at some point, maybe during the week, doing a live Twitch stream. From the office here, but I'm not going to try it on the podcast again until I'm 100% sure I can get it up and running. So I don't want to have somebody watching on Twitch and then all of a sudden the feed drops because something weird happened. I don't think it's a Twitch issue itself, but I just don't want to. I don't want to, lose poor viewers like that. So,
right.
But of course, again, definitely go over to Ben's Twitter, No Rights. Go ahead and check out his Tumblr at No Rights. Also, I believe he still has the website. It's like norightsproductions.com, I think it is.
Yeah, that's. I believe that's exactly it. I remember I was trying to look on his site, like he's like changing it around all the time, and I was trying to look up something for Nate, and on there, like, what happened with his, like, comics or something, and I guess he's like, well, I got rid of my comics on there. I'm like, okay.
Well, whatever form it goes through, definitely check him out. I believe he's still doing his comics on Tumblr, possibly. So check him out, of course, on Tumblr, on his website, and on his Twitter. Even though I had to use the old around the horn tactic on him. Still a cool guy.
You weren't kidding that you were going to get him triggered, man.
It is what it is. Free form, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I like to do here until it gets to a certain point, and then, you know, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Around the Horn. Mute.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of the few actual geeks who know what Around the Horn is, but if you watch ESPN, you know what I'm talking about.
Is there anything else going on with you, though?
Huh?
Anything else going on with you? Like, what's up with your bodybuilding and stuff like that? Your sponsors and shit.
Yeah, I took a couple weeks off. I am a CT Fletcher Iron Addicts Nation sponsored athlete. So if you want to go and order some Iron Addicts supplements and also Iron Addicts wear, if you go to my Instagram, I have my promo code listed on my profile. So use that promo code to get 10% off, and you'll pop some credit my way. So, but yeah, we're going into more of a cardio phase at the moment. I'm trying to just drop some fat straight off before the winter comes. It's the winter shred, not the summer shred. But
what's like the most potent and like craziest thing that you can get legally now that's like the closest to like steroids?
That's a really rough question to ask, to be honest with you. There's a lot of different supplements out there that do different things. Some people, all they really need to get jacked is good pre-workout. Some people just straight up take some vitamin B12 and they're ready to go. I like pre-workouts, and that's part of the reason why I joined up with CT Fletcher is because I tried out the pre-workout. It's called Sidewalk Cracker, along with the it's a pump formula called Sleeve Buster, and it was like just power running through my veins, man. And it was just fantastic. And I'm sitting there just pumping, and like it just go and go. Like the first night I took Sidewalk Cracker, the only other pre-workout I've ever taken that's even close to that was Gaspari Nutrition Super Pump 250, and it even exceeded that at a point. The first time I took Super Pump 250 from Gaspari Nutrition, I worked out for about 2 hours straight with like no break, and I was still even ready to go after that a little bit. I took Sidewalk Cracker and Sleeve Buster. I had a 3-hour workout, and I still had I was still up for another 3 hours afterwards. I was that jacked, and like the pump that I got off that workout, it was like insane. It was the best pump I've ever gotten. Like I've never felt my muscles so full of blood in my life. Like I took it and then was just pumping, and it's not like one of those like automatic drop off type of stimulants, because they are stimulants. It was just one of those like you kind of ride down. It's like driving through the countryside and you're hitting these little hills and valleys, you know?
Yeah.
I can't really, obviously I'm kind of spouting off about it, but I can't really talk enough about how good that stuff was, at least for me. So for my money, it's going to be Sidewalk Cracker and Sleeve Buster from here on out.
I just asked because like you always hear about it. It is a secret thing that's legal for you to do, but it's so crazy. It makes you lose weight and gain muscle like really fast, even better than steroids or something, you know?
Most of that's hype. Most companies that say, "Oh, lose 10 pounds in 10 days," that's pretty much hype. I'm not a big fan of a lot of these like the crash diets and 14-day cleanses and stuff like that, because it's not sustainable.
Right.
There is no shortcut to physical fitness. There is only one path, and that's hard work, and that's eating correctly. That's it. And it's not overnight. It's not in 14 days. Your only option is to put your fucking feet to the pavement, bust it down every single day. Push yourself to be better every single day that you're in that gym, or you're working, or you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. As CT Fletcher says, it is still your motherfucking set every day of your life.
Just and like with money and stuff, nothing's free, right?
Nothing's free, including your life. You have to pay. You're going to pay with sweat. You're going to
pay it forward.
Yep. You got to pay with sweat. You're going to pay with blood. You're going to pay the price. So.
Yep. You get out of it what you put into it.
Yep. So with that,
all right, man.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and roll out, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Ian, thanks for coming on. Thanks, Ben, wherever you are, off being triggered somewhere. Thanks for coming on.
Trigger. Yeah, I just like having him on, and I know you still did, even though. No.
Hey, we can disagree, man.
Yeah.
Disagree.
It is what it is.
I don't argue. I just tell you why I'm right.
And you're wrong, right?
All right. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for sticking with us for the hour and 15 minutes we've gone. We'll see you next week. Feel free to pay some more attention here to the channel. I do have older videos, things about supplements that I've taken in the past. Some first taste videos give you a nice idea of exactly what you're drinking sometimes or you're eating, and some of it's pretty funny.
Are you going to be doing like workout streams and stuff? You know, like Furious Pete and shit does.
I have thought about doing it. Because I'm going to be working out more in my home gym. A little bit more coming up.
Do some deadlift videos and shit.
Yeah, because I can actually deadlift in my basement, which I can't do at Planet Fitness.
Right.
So, but that's.
We look forward to it, man. If you decide to do it.
That's coming, brah.
Brah.
All right. Well, once again, thank you everybody for watching out there. Goodbye.
Peace.
And good night.